back to nature. Hello, I'm Nursanira. Let's enjoy the nature. Hi, my name is Siti Nurzaifah. Street View Street Life.
Hi, me Khairul Afan bin Saharudin. Let's save our nature.
Hello, my name is Khairul Afan. Let's go.
Water is the basic unit of life. The nature of the water cycle implies that pollution control, water supply and effective sewage system in a country are parts of the closely related element of water resources management. In Malaysia, about 95% of water sources come from the inland river system. The consistent and rapid growth of urban industry in Malaysia has undoubtedly resulted in an increase in economic well-being of the citizens on the one hand. However, they had also led to water pollution around the region of the country. So today, we will explore the impact of economic development on water
First of
pollution.
all, I will explain about the structural pattern of water pollution and its sources in Malaysia. The Department of Environment have been identified the industry that having a significant water pollution sources in Peninsular Malaysia. The major potentially polluting industry were food and beverage factories. The second is rubber producing, chemist, and the following of chemical producer. As on the distribution of water pollution sources by state in Peninsular Malaysia, the majority was found in Selangor first. Second is Johor, following Pulau Pinang and Perak. They are also the most industrial states in the Peninsular Malaysia in terms of organic water pollution load, sewage, and animal waste were the major contributor of water pollution, followed by manufacturing and agro-based industry in the country. In the case of pollution load in 1988 of the study shows that the manufacturing and agro-based industry, which is palm oil and rubber, contribute less of biochemical oxygen demand, which is BOD loads, and contrast to of BOD loads from animal husbandry and sewage, which is the animal husbandry and sewage contributors of much of BOD. According to evidence from the study of the sector, shows the magnitude of organic pollution due to BOD discharge between 1990 and 1993 have an increase tremendously and prove that organic waste from animal husbandry are a national problem. This is constrained by land, senior issues and society law regard of animal husbandry as a backyard rather than a modern industry. The removal of sewage from urban areas continues to pose problems for water resources in relation to its effective treatment and disposal. The bulk of sewage is water which is rich in nitrate and phosphate. Basically speaking, this is a major contributory factor to eutrophication downstream and profoundly altering the characteristics of the aquatic ecosystem of some river systems. Disposal of domestic and municipal waste, which is include industrial, commercial and household garbage, also present a different set of problems. Between the year 2000 and 2004, the major contributors to water pollution were effluents from urban domestic sewage facilities rather than manufacturing industries. The pollution load contributed by this pollution significantly affected the river quality. An analysis of manufacturing industry in 2000 showed that the food and beverage industry constitute below rather than others of the total sources of water pollution. The OE has monitored the 120 river basins in year 2001 and found that the majority of that is to be clean. Then the trend of clean rivers from 1996 until 2000 continued to decrease.
Malaysia has had pollution-related legislation via Waters Act 1920. The main objective of the legislation was to control the river pollution in Malaysia. However, the legislation was limited and in scope and inadequate for handling complex environmental problems that emerged. And this has led to the establishment of EQA, which means Environmental Quality Act. And EQA is enabling the piece of legislation for preventing, abating, and controlling pollution and enhancing the environmental resources in general. In addition, control of pollution was through the mechanism of license issued by the Department of Environment. The mode of control includes the prescription of licenses, which were mandatory for the use and occupation of prescribed premise, discharging or emitting waste and exceeding acceptable conditions into the atmosphere, polluting or causing the pollution or any soil or surface of any land. And a close examination of provisions in Section 25 of EQA, which in Environmental Quality Act, shows that the Malaysian approach to environmental pollution management more concerned towards the pollution that affects the beneficial use of water resources. Furthermore, in Section 70A of the Act, which in EQA deal with the basic requirement of the earthworks to ensure the protection of water resources, pollution that might arise from earthworks. In this regard, local authorities were empowered to use their discretion to disapprove any activity that may create a soil problem. And Section 7A also of the Local Government Act 1976 contains provisions on pollution abatement in general, but water pollution control specifically that authorize local authorities to control and prevent the pollution of inland water. These local authorities were empowered to curb public nuisance to ensure that the source of drinking water supplies are not polluted. Hi, we meet again. There are another regulatory policy for protection of inland waters in the Street, Drainage and Building Act 1974. This act is a federal law enacted to amend and consolidate the laws relating to drainage and building in local authority areas with special reference to infrastructure facilities that should be provided to buildings such as proper access, proper sanitation system and proper drainage system. The Town and Country Planning Act 1976 also been formulated to include a provision for the prevention of environmental pollution. It ensures that a development project will not cause harm to water resources or to ensure the development projects and factories are neither located next to the river or in close proximity with the river. Under the Act 3 of 1970, Malaysian government has formulated to the land conservation to protect some of the key contributors of inland water pollution such as situation and soil erosion. In view of the fact that the nature of situation is such and erosion that leads to the water pollution are from a non-point sources such as activities that involve the earthwork operation, logging and land clearing. During Tun Dr. Mahathir's administration in 1961, he enacted the environmental control of septic and hazardous waste management to control municipal and industrial wastewater pollution. An environmental quality regulation related to the scheduled waste was passed in 1989. In premise related to the scheduled waste treatment and disposal facilities were simultaneously introduced in 1989.
In 1981, Department of the Environment DOE directed efforts towards controlling water pollution from point and non-point sources. The point source of water pollution control focus on dust from industrial effluents and sewage from the domestic or household sector. For effective control, point sources of water pollution were classified in three broad groups, namely aggregate domestic sources, comprise palm oil mill effluents, natural rubber processing effluents, sewage and effluents from other manufacturing industries. The non-point sources include major activities in land and resource development which affect water catchment in the country as a whole and benefit the nation in particular. There are enforcement of water pollution control policies on crude palm oil industry. The activities of the DOE focus increasingly more on prevention rather than curative measures. Lack of adequate maintenance of crude palm oil factories is
effluent treatment system was the principal offence for the non-compliant cases. By this, DOE has intensified its enforcement activity and focused on problematic source of water pollution. In other words, steps were taken to enhance accreditation in an equal scheme known as Malaysia Laboratories Accreditation Scheme. DOE organized a workshop on environmental quality management in plantation industries to intensify its enforcement program. The main agenda under discussion was the government concern for water pollution by palm oil mills and non-compliance to the stipulated effluent discharge standards. One of the resolutions of the workshop was the need to form a joint working group comprising DOE, Foreign Rubber Research Institute of Malaysia, Standard and Industrial Research Institute of Malaysia, and Federation of Rubber Trade Association of Malaysia to review and monitor a new generation of water cost discharge standard for the plantation industry. DOE made two types of fee payable for obtaining a license to tighten the aggregate of license issues. These were processing fees and effluent-related fees, which were estimated on the basis of effluent discharge and mode of disposal into water cost in accordance with the polluter pay.
In line with the Malaysian Incorporated, a consultative committee comprising prescribed premises operators, Palm Oil, Rubber Association and DOE was established. The principal objective was to review and exchange information on the latest available environmental pollution control technology. And in addition, the establishment of the committee was to enhance the level of compliance among the operators of prescribed premises with the effluent standards and licensing conditions of their
The enforcement
operation.
of pollution control policy on raw natural rubber factories. In the case of rubber industry, the policy related to the raw natural rubber regulation was enforced to control water pollution from the source. The approach was quite similar to the one applied to palm oil, except the compliance with the standard was made mandatory right from the inception without the option of payment of effluent-related fees as in palm oil. In its effort to strengthen the water pollution control program, DOE held a dialogue with the Federation of Rubber Trade Association of Malaysia about the issue related to adult control, improper skipping and the need for relocation of some smelly factories. One of the resolutions that came up within the dialogue was that industry were allowed to send samples for analysis at laboratories not accredited with the Malaysia Laboratories Accreditation Scheme due to the lack of sufficient capacity of those under FAMM. In addition, DOE also carry out treatment plant inspection and observe adequacy of basis design, status of operation and maintenance, regulatory of the sludge removal and sludge return, if any, and specific features of improved design operation. It appears that the implementation of policy at this particular point in time was very stringent and quite minor in nature, as the closing down of factories or firms or suspending them will affect a strategic industry and the lives of many families as well as the country's economy, whereas allowing them to pollute the environment is harmful for health. Hence, it's a trade-off that needs to be balanced.
Next, we go through the enforcement of water pollution control policy on pig wastes. In Peninsular Malaysia, water pollution arising from the pig industry are significantly terkilai with states such as Negeri Sembilan, Melaka, Selangor, Penang, Johor, where the pig industries are concentrated. Wastes from the pig industry include urine, feces, and the amount discharged relatively proportional to the age, weight of the pig and the unique quality of food and water consumed by the pig itself. However, the Department of Environment adopted another strategic approach to control the pollution problem of the pig factors. A task force was established by Departments of Environment to overcome problems including using technology for treatment and disposal of pig wastes. This task force comprised personnel from Departments of Environment, Standards and Industry Research Institute of Malaysia, (TIRIM), Institut Tanian Malaysia (UPM), Department of Veterinary, services, the Chemistry Department, Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Health, and shared by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Science, Technology and Environment, survey with pig waste problems to obtain the data with respect to the size of the pig farm, weight, water cost, discharge and other tangible information. The task force also come up with pilot scale plants for pig waste treatment. In this period, 2 plants suitable for pig farms with 100 until 1,000 and 1,000 until 5,000 pigs were designed. The plan for 100 until 1,000 pigs was already in operation at the Government Veterinary Department Farm at Sungai Buloh in Selangor. To further intensify the enforcement control of water pollution in pig farms in the peninsula, the Ministry of Agriculture, in collaboration with Department of Environment, also initiated some preventive steps for the government to introduce a uniform federal law to harmonize the control of pig farm waters in various states, namely Johor, Terengganu, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, and introduce their own enactments for the control of the problem. In the period of 1990 until 2005, the Departments of Veterinary Services and Departments of Environment continued their collaboration enforcement efforts to initiate a number of projects in addressing water pollution, perjury, waste and animal husbandry. A task force was initiated on perjury waste management to draft guidelines and practical design criteria to assist farmers in upgrading their existing treatment facilities and constructing of new ones. Department of Environment highlighted that only larger pig industries located in non-sensitive areas and capable of installing the effluent treatment system were to be permitted to carry out the operation. So, throughout 1990s up to 2002 or 2005 period, vigorous enforcement efforts by Departments of Environment have been in operation to control wastewater pollution arising from this cause. And next, enforcement of water pollution control policy on manufacturing industry. The water pollution problems arising from the manufacturing industry continue to be regulated under the environmental policy related to the regulations for sewage and industry effluent. Among the focuses of DOE were premises engaged in the food and beverage production, palm oil refineries, textile factories, paper recycling mills, metal finishing works, and rubber product factories. In its efforts to intensify the policy enforcement, DOE carried out throughout its inspections in 1985 until 1986. During the inspection carried out by the DEO, it was discovered that many textile industries were still without proper effluent treatment systems, resulting in water pollution problems in states such as Perak, Johor, Selangor, Kelantan, and Terengganu, where these industries were located. A stipulated period of adjustment and improvement was issued to those industries by DOE to build up appropriate and workable plant systems. In the meantime, the operations of such industries were required to improve their housekeeping in order to reduce oil and grease in the discharge influence. In the case of rubber products manufacturing industry, DOE enforcement strengthening on some existing premises in 1990 to excessive levels of pollutants such as steam, oil, and grease and COD. From this, the policy of upgrading the treatment system was initiated. The DOE, as an enforcement body, held a series of discussions with the electrocratic associations on establishing central effluent treatment system. A series of dialogue was also held in 1993 between DOE and the food beverage industry to facilitate compliance with the excessive water pollution policies in meeting the standards of their effluent discharge into the water catchment. As in the case of 1990, significant problems of some rubber-based and textile industry associated with the lack of proper treatment system, especially stipulated COD and BOD standards, were found in 1993 and 1994, respectively. The metal finishing industry and some other small and medium-scale industries were found without any forms of treatment system for their discharge to meet specified effluent standards in the policy regulations. Are of 49 license applications applied under Section 25 Clause 1 of the EUA. 34 were rejected by the DOE due to the lack of adequate required information in 1994. Other enforcement actions had to deal with contravention licenses. Licenses were only granted to small-scale industries practicing
It was also issued to those manufacturing industries facing the problem of repairing and constructing their incinerators or facilities to reduce pollution. As part of the policy enforcement action, conservation licenses were issued under Section 25, Clause 1, Environmental Quality Act, to those industries with genuine reasons in order to give them time to upgrade their treatment plants to meet their effluent standards required by the national policy. In addition, suggestions have been offered to wood-based industries on recycling and reutilizing of their wood waste in order to conserve water resources of the country. The granting of conservation license to manufacturing industries underwent stricter scrutiny to strengthen the enforcement action. Industries were also required to be accompanied by the operations and discharge data and evidence of previous efforts made in meeting compliance. Scrutinized before their applications can be endorsed, a total of 1,283 licenses were granted to Indah Water, Consortium Sdn Bhd. The company operates with a various treatment facilities in the country to enable it to upgrade the existing facilities. In the same period, the use of controlled substances facility in soap, scientific detergent order 1995 was promulgated by DOE. For example, 2 licenses were granted to the concentrate industries to enable them to clean up brand alkyl benzene sulfonate by November 30, 1995.
Next point is enforcement of water pollution control policy on sewage disposal. Water pollution control via treatment of sewage discharge depends on the waterborne sewage system available in the country. As of the year of 1981, DOE recognized the need to increase the sewage system project in Peninsular Malaysia. From 1985 to 1986, the enforcement action was carried out by DOE at some identified sources of sewage discharge into water resources such as holiday resorts, hotel and housing estates. Within the span of 1991 until 1996, DOE incorporated dialogue into its enforcement action and operations for resolving water pollution and effacement. To enhance compliance with policy requirement of water protection, a number of dialogue sessions between the DOE and industry council were conducted in 1993. The participating industry include the food and beverage industry, the Textile Association, Malaysia Oil Chemical Manufacturer Group and the Malaysia Rubber Growth Manufacturer Association through the Tripartite Consultative Committee. DOE signed an agreement with Indah Water Consortium Berhad under privatization modality as a company working for the government to operate and maintain sewage treatment facilities throughout the country. The technical working group, which comprised the DOE, the Sewage Service Department, SSD and IWK, was established in July 1996 to discuss various operational issues faced by IWK. The main objective was to facilitate compliance with Regulatory Policy Instrument of Sewage Service Act 1993. The outcome of the agreement of the working group include adoption of guidelines on disposal site selection criteria for use by the state DOE and SSD, and the procedure for the application of written approval for disposal of sludge. Other enforcement actions carried out by DOE during the period of 1997-2005 include operational inspection and surprise visit relating to industry and fluid discharge. 50 assessment of the current status of sewage facilities has shown that between 1990 until the present time, Malaysia has 8,000 sewage plants and approximately 7,500 km length of the sewage, mostly situated in urban areas, to be more than 12 million.
There are highly concentrated on sewerage systems. The cost of developing a modern and efficient sewerage system is too expensive to be borne by the government. Currently, the major constraint of building up the new sewerage system is solely dependent on sewerage capital contribution (SCC). The consortium body IWK has estimated that about RM28 billion will be needed to build up new systems such as sewer rectification and pumping stations, A centralized sewerage treatment plant catering for sewerage and sludge treatment within the next 38 years of its completion period. As such, a new sewerage tariff of at least 70% higher than the existing rate will be required to fund this additional work. The government has seriously reviewed this and finally approved a sewerage capital contribution rate of up to 1.65% of the property value to be levied on all properties except low-cost housing. So there is a relationship between development indicator and also the pollution trend. There is a relationship between development and water pollution, which is high level of development activities does not necessitate high degree of river pollution in the presence of effective technologies and policy making. So, conclusion and recommendation, the development in terms of industrialization, urbanization, and population growth account for the various change in daily level of population in river inflation. Of course, there is no solid fact connected to the root of the water pollution problem in one particular area. However, the finding of the people has been pointed many indications for policy makers to further out. Firstly, the result of the decreasing impact of predators on polluted water, such that policy action can be taken against the influence of water pollution, will be ineffective regulations are demonstrated to control or decrease 1% of water pollution. In other words, it is said that all policy instruments and measures must be very distinct, working together against all the additional sources of water pollution. Secondly, policy measures against water pollution may be appropriate and effective, but lack of coordinated action and holistic action in implementing the policy may lead to non-improvement in the level of river pollution in the country. The problem also in part may be associated with the financial constraints to invest in appropriate technology, especially if the firm considering human source of water pollution in primary and secondary treatment. Since the 3L advanced treatment is not employed in the country, it therefore is that the influence from such treatment plants will be very high in the trade. Third, the problem may be associated with the lack of cooperation between the government and private business firms to comply with regulatory policy for water pollution. And finally, the government can provide loan incentives to small-scale industries to purchase appropriate pollution control technology rather